Hey, welcome back to the Baco Motorsports Power Hour. I'm Mike Griffith with Bakersfield, California, and we're with the Bakersfield Speedway segment here. We've got Scott Schweitzer in. How you doing, Scott?
Good, Mike.
Doing good. We were just talking about the Super Nationals in Boone, Iowa.
Yep.
It's just finished up this weekend, and Austin Fry from Taft had qualified 900 cars total.
Right.
181 sport mods. And Austin Fry made the big show on Saturday, but you saw it. I didn't see. You said he spun out.
Yeah. He started probably, I think, fourth, fifth row. They start him three wide, so he started in the middle of the fourth, fifth, sixth row right in there. He went went probably a quarter of the race and then got in a tangle and spun out. And I don't know, finished down pretty low. But then also Cody Laney. Cody Laney made the big show in modifieds. Yeah, he did a great job and was able to get in there and. He started deep in the field and finished 14th. So, hats off to Cody for a great run.
Yeah, and that's Cody races up here a lot and has been racing all summer long back there in the Midwest along with Ethan Dotson out of Bakersfield.
Right.
So
him and Ethan were in the All-Star Invitational, which was cool to see two Bakersfield guys in that race. So, big, long week of racing back there and looking forward to have them guys back. They're actually going to stay one more. They'll race this week in Marshalltown, and then they'll be home.
And then come out here and maybe catch the last race. And
one tune-up race before the Bud Nationals, yeah.
So it'd be good to have those guys back and see how they can mix it up with the guys who've been racing all season.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, the IMCA guys were gone. You had some races without IMCA mods and stuff. So I think what did we have last weekend? We had hobby stocks.
Well, we headlined with the we had hobby stocks, American stocks. Kind of like you said, with IMCA being the Super Nationals, you're not allowed to have any sanctioned races. So we put a kind of juggle around all that. But yeah, had a great turnout of hobby stocks and it was a great event.
I see Lloyd Wren Jr., his first win of the year at the Speedway there, and Aaron Stewart, who's just he's just if nothing but consistent.
Yeah, he's that. What is it? The little train that
just keeps chugging along.
Yeah, he just keeps chugging along, and you always see the 37 there. And Aaron doesn't get a lot of wins, but he gets a lot of top fives, and it pays off in points for him.
Yeah, and he hasn't got a win yet, but he's right up there. I think he's second in points with one race left now.
Yeah, Mike Hill Jr. is still leading the points, and they race the last weekend of the point season next weekend.
Yeah,
so.
and I see Mike Hill not in the top 10 here. So.
Yeah, I got out there early and got into something happened right front or something in the front end and had to go off the track, and that kind of cost him his night. But still leading points, and I'm sure that
I'm sure now with he lost at least, I can see by this 16 points. I don't know how many, but at least Aaron now it's you can't afford to have another did not finish an early exit if you're Mike Hill.
Make for a great night of hobby stock racing. We got a couple of close points battles coming up now because of the way that last weekend turned out. So it's going to be interesting.
You're going to see Mark McCaslin up there sixth, and he's of Okibo hardtop fame.
Yeah, new hobby stock driver for us. First time out was last event, and he made the tech pad, and he was sitting right there ready to make the tech pad again. And then last few laps, I think he got in a little tussle with somebody, and it cost him a few spots, but Mark's doing a great job, and it's going to be good to see him, part of the hobby stock class now.
Okay, and then we also had the pro stocks there, and Brady Bell doubled up.
Yeah, it was a great battle between Brady Bell and Tim Randolph there, and they battled back and forth, some slide jobs, and swapped the lead back and forth throughout the whole race. But with about 4 laps to go, Brady was able to put the last slide job on him that he needed and capitalize on the win and got another win in the pro stocks.
Yeah, it's 2 straight for Brady, so obviously that car is running quite well right now. And then you have his wife, Tina, finishing third, so not a bad deal there.
Yeah, great show for Tina. I know she's struggled a little bit in this division because she's new to it, and she's always used to those front-wheel drive cars, and she's really stepped up in horsepower in the pro stocks. But she's done a great job, qualified good, stayed out of trouble, and here she was in the main event and did well.
Yeah, I was going to say quite a step up from a little 4-cylinder mini stock, which are pretty low on horsepower, but low on weight, and front-wheel drive into the pro stocks, which have an abundance of horsepower.
Billy Simpkins there, he pulled out for the start of the race and broke something in the rear end, J-bar or something, so wasn't able to compete, which would have been interesting because Billy's really got his car on a rail right now. Would have been interesting to see him up there battling with Brady and Tim.
And much like the pro stocks, their numbers kind of waned as the season went on, and It's a long season.
It is, and the Pro Stocks is one of those divisions that we have a small amount of them in town. The other portion of them are from Santa Maria, and it's just tough for those guys to travel back and forth with economy and all that. So it's one of those divisions we rely on a lot of travelers to come out of town, and certain times of the year we don't see it. But we got the Bud Nationals will be their next time up, and they'll have a good field for them.
And missing from this group is Lee Jensen, who looked like he grenaded
Yeah,
a
he
motor
lost
in the
the
last
motor.
race because
Yeah.
it went just coming out of turn 4 and left a huge oil slick as he pulled into the
and
infield.
that's another thing is these guys, when they lose motors and stuff like that, it's tough for them to turn right around, and they don't have an extra motor sitting around to pop in there. So, but hopefully we'll see Lee in that cool looking car at the Nationals.
Okay. Yeah, the American stocks and points race is tightening up in this because Trevor Baker needed to finish ahead of Dakota Brown, and he did.
He did. Trevor Baker had a great night, and this is going to make it interesting with Dakota Brown finishing 4th. I think now I was looking at the points yesterday, and I think there are 4-6 points of difference between those two.
Yeah,
so
and it's 2 points of position, so
Yeah.
we're talking about
it's not over.
one race left.
Yeah, it's not over, and
Nicholas Johnson's right in there too. If those two guys falter at all,
Exactly. It was Dakota had a good lead at the beginning of the year, running strong, and everybody else kind of caught up to him. So it's going to come down again to the last night and see how it plays out. But Trevor had a great night on Saturday.
and that's what you like to see when you start the season. If you could get a couple guys fighting for it, good. If you can get 3 people battling for a lead, all the better. And that's what we have in American stocks. There's 3 legitimate chances to win.
Yeah, for these guys racing 15, 16 times throughout the season, for it to come down to one race to find out who's going to be the points champion, that's what we want. That you couldn't ask for anything better. So, been a great season by all these guys, and looking forward to next week to see who is our champion.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun out there. Bakersfield Speedway mod lights and a very familiar name in Victory Circle at Bakersfield Speedway. I think he's won all but 2 or 3 races, Jerry Flippo.
Yeah, Jerry's had a great season, and actually that was our last race for the Mod Lights, so he wrapped up the championship. And, man, that kid's come a long ways. I mean, from last year when he first climbed in it, and just getting around the track to this year. Everybody knows what Zach is. Zach's one of the most, fastest drivers out there, and he was trying to catch him, and he couldn't. So, I mean, Flippo is really amazing what the progress that he's made out there, and it's impressive to watch him on the track.
Yeah, I think he has really become in tune with these mod lights, and for whatever reason, just works great in the car, works well together. Anthony Balcazar, another young driver, just keeps knocking at the door, but not quite there. Jeff Thompson, he's won a couple races. I know he's won out at the other track. Zach won out on Friday night at the other track, but beat Jerry, which is becoming a feat, is beating Jerry Flippo.
And what's good to see about it is, half of this division right here are the kids that were in our mini dwarfs, and that senior class, when they reach that age, they need a place to go. And this is why we did this class, and it's working, and it's really showing that these kids, that they gained their experience and learned a lot in the mini dwarfs, and they're carrying it onto the mod lights. And it's cool to see in the top 5 that we have 3 of our little young guns from that class that are finishing the top 5.
Yeah, I know a lot of some of the mini dwarf parents are concerned that jumping up to those mod lights from a mini dwarf is a pretty significant jump, because Zach has said, an article I did last year, that these things are fast and not easy to drive.
Yeah,
their high horsepower to weight ratio is great, and but it shows that it can be done, especially, as you said, look at that top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be done, and these guys proved it. So, and I can understand it, as a parent, with a son that would see that would be a big jump. But, I mean, it's an option. They can also go to an American stock, which, has a bigger car and not quite the fastest lap times as these guys. So, but it's just cool to see we're keeping our mini dwarfs in racing and keeping them at the track and involved and moving them up the ladder.
Okay, that's a good deal. And then you had the NMRA 3/4 midgets out there. Familiar name there, Chuck West again.
Yeah, he's hard to beat. It's either him or West, it seems like. So it's one of those 2 black cars. So it was a great night for NMRA. They brought 10 cars, and usually, they've been struggling a little bit, and brought 10 out to the track, and it was a nice night for them.
Okay, and then now that the Boone Nationals are done, the modifieds and sport mods, and we're going to finish up with back-to-back races for these guys.
Yeah, it's always pretty. We always like the last couple of races after Boone. The guys come back; they're pretty sharp and hone their driving skills. So it's a good night. And yeah, everybody's getting ready for the Bud Nationals now. So we run modifieds and sport mods the next 2 weeks, and we got the stock cars. Lightning Sprints are making their last appearance of the season. So it's a good couple of weeks of racing left to go before the Nationals.
You've got that, and no points races ended up yet because obviously the modified sport mods both have, well, the IMCA stocks, it's their final point race this season, right?
They raced
ran
twice.
both.
Yeah, they ran.
But we don't have to worry about that. We know the champion.
Unless he disappears.
Unless he disappears, someone kidnaps him and takes him down to Mexico, holds him for ransom.
Yeah.
Steven Johnson is going to be the IMCA stock champion because he is just
he's dominated.
Been dominant.
Yeah.
So, and modifieds, got that slide there, the number 16 car, Ricky Childress. He's had a solid year.
Yeah, Ricky's a great driver. Drove all, started out in American stocks, worked his way up, and it's cool to see him back in a car and driving for Holder, which puts great equipment underneath him. And Ricky's had a great season, and he's sitting right there poised to get the championship.
Yeah, he got a big win Friday night out there at KCRP, and somebody asked him, he says, "What you do with the money?" He says, "Well, that goes to the owner. I get to drive for free," which it says something where you can just get into a car, you work on them, but it's not costing you anything.
Right, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would love to have the situation that Ricky does. And, Ricky's a great guy, keeps the car clean, doesn't tear it up. So, I mean, it's good for Roger, gets his name out there. And also – in part with that, Ricky helps Brylan, which Brylan has got to be our most improved driver. I mean, that kid has come a long ways, and a lot of that probably is from Ricky.
Right, and he's the 09 car here in this slide on the outside of points leader Chris McKellar. It happens that Brylan is second in points as well, but Chris has had just a great season. I think he's got 3 wins this year and just a lot of consistent finishes. So barring him being kidnapped, and just as long as he starts the races and keeps it clean, he's going to be the champion in sport
it's a
mods.
great year for Chris McKellar. I think it's his rookie season in the class. He's been an ex-modified driver and stepped it down, converted his car, and has had some great success. So that's cool to see.
And that's quite often a cost deal, isn't it? Where it just costs less to run these sport mods.
Well, I don't know cost-wise. I mean, from talking to these guys, I mean, it's expensive, to run either one the way the technology is. But for whatever reason, I think now that the crate motors came into play, I mean, that helps the cost on both divisions. But for whatever reason, Chris converted his car to a B mod and has had great success and is looking to get the championship.
And a lot of people used to poo-poo the crate motors and think, no, they don't have the horsepower. We don't want to run crate motors. But I think it's been seen that the crate motors on most track conditions are going to be very competitive.
It's the future. I mean, there's no doubt it's the future. The cost of racing and what engine builders are charging to do that. I mean, it's the way we got to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like you've got 2 weeks left and then a break.
We do. 2 more weeks of racing Saturday night, and we take a weekend off as we're getting ready for the Nationals, and then we'll blow it up with 2 days of exciting racing out there.
And what's it look like for the Nationals? A little quick preview of that.
Well, we don't do pre-entries. What we do is reserve pit stalls for people, and we're in the 100 mark of pit stalls reserved. So the Bud National is one of those events that sells itself, and a lot of people know about it. Again, a lot of activity from cars up north in the Oregon area and from Nevada, Arizona. So it's going to be another great event.
Yep. Always, if you can't make any race,
that's the
one to make the Bud Nationals. That's on October 7th. 7th and 8th. At
Yep.
Bakersfield Speedway. Okay, well, thanks for dropping
you
by.
Bet. No problem.
We'll be back in a few minutes with another segment on the Baco Power Hour.